everyone. Hope you've had a great trading week. Here's a quick update for you just on latest updates in Performance Lens over the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to start off with the trade copier for you. So I'm continuing to add some improvements to the trade copier itself. Overall, I'm really happy now with the level of stability and the overall just trade performance and and the different sort of features. So one change that I have made this last week, and with the latest version of 2.60, is with the copy SL and TP from master and versus fixed SL on slave. So the copy SL and TP from master has been updated. This now works in the same way as Traders Connect, and so what that means is it will directly copy the stop loss, but it will also mirror the difference in price as part of that automatically. So for example, say the price is 10,000 and on your master and 10,100 on your slave. When the stop loss is placed, it will automatically take that 100-point difference and apply that into the stop loss automatically. So you get the exact same level of stop loss between the master and the slave. The additional part that I've added is, and this is different to Traders Connect, is typically you can only use pips, and we'd say just have say 75 for that. But the problem with that approach is then each symbol, 75 pips, means something different in terms of a dollar value. So I've now added the ability just to put a dollar value directly, and then it calculates the number of pips that would be. So for example, say on a 100k account, your stop loss might be -1,000, and you would want an extra 200 just to have safety on your slave stop loss so it doesn't get hit ahead of your master. So you would put 200 in there, and so you would want between say 0.2 and 0.25% stop loss, so addition on your stop loss. So say 200 or 250 for a 100k account, and then the same applies for your take profit. You can also actually reverse the offset if you wanted to, so you can actually take that to say -200 if you wanted that as an option. The missed trade recovery has also had some improvements. So previously this was dollar per lot, which I think was causing maybe a little bit of confusion. So now this is dollar total. So with the max adverse enabled for missed trade recovery, then you can set that at an amount. So for example, a standard trade recovery that takes place would either wait for the same price or better. But if you set a limit of 100, it will wait to get to, say your master trade is at +100 in profit. Once the price hits that +100, it would then take the trade on the slave as well. So before waiting for it to go to 0 or better. So that's now in place, and you can also do that with pips as well if you want to. So now that's so previously I would have recommended the fixed SL on slave as the main way to do the stop loss, but now I'm recommending the copy SL and TP from master now that this dollar option is available. And the main reason for that is this approach also accounts for a trailing stop loss. So if you've got a trailing stop loss on your master, that will be reflected with the offset on the slave, whereas this just puts the fixed amount on, so the stop loss doesn't actually move with the master trailing. Obviously, if the stop loss does close on the master, that is reflected regardless. but this is just as a safety net on your slave, in case either the prop firm needs a stop loss on the slave, or for whatever reason there's a quick sort of reversal in the market, and you want to get out of the stop loss straight on the slave. This was actually launched in version 2.59, so that's the ability to copy the magic number across from the master to the slave. That's on by default, so you can turn that on or off. And then there's now an option as well to copy existing trades. So when you're first starting the copying and added the EA onto the chart and unpausing, then you can choose whether to do that or not. And again, that needs the version 2.60 if you actually select no on that. So a few changes there on the stop loss and trade recovery. I say I'm quite confident now that we're reaching a point of maturity on this part, so I don't see any changes on this on the copier in the near future. The one exception is that I am looking to add a multi-master to single slave setup. So at the moment you can do from one master to multiple slaves, but the next addition will be, say, 2 masters to one slave. So that's the copier. Some other changes that have been made. So on the MT5 auto tester, you've now got the ability to manage your portfolios, so you can move those around and also edit the names as well. And then you've also got a portfolio analysis tool. So if you've run a number of portfolios and you want to do some comparisons, you can select those and then compare the two, and it will show you across those comparisons where the strongest portfolios are. So it'll show you for each of these columns which has the better sort of results for that comparison. So that's the MT5 auto tester. Added those the selection capability on the SQX uploader as well. And what else? So the backtest analysis, this has actually been live for a couple of weeks now, but the trade backtest comparison, you can now do either SQX or MT5. So what this allows me to do is say, okay, so my portfolio 4, this has been backtested in MT5, and portfolio 4 here is actually my live account. So this is my live account that's running, this is my MT5 one. And I can select a time tolerance for that as well. So it will try and match trades, and I found usually somewhere between a 4 and a 12 is kind of needed for it to sort of make sense. So you can see you can have the ability to exclude symbols. These are all matching correctly, and then once you're happy you can run the comparison, and then it will give you a match rate, and then you can see down here comparison by month. So you get a very quick view on where you may have missed trades on your live, and be potentially able to identify any sort of strategies that aren't working. So for example, I can see in May there was quite a big delta, so 2,000 less on my live account, and I can go to the profit difference. You can see that an SPX trade happened and it was only a profit of 140 versus 1,000, so that's obviously a difference of almost $1,000. So I need to have a look into why on my live account the SPX trade was so different. So yes, that's a useful tool to do comparisons. You've also then got a week comparison, so you can sort of drill down the trades for that week, and then an overall trade table that gives you a full list of trades, as well as a strategies table, so you can see which strategies might be differing between backtest and live as well. So that's the updated backtest filter, and I think that's pretty much it for the moment. I say I'm continually adding new features and little updates and tweaks and improvements, as we go along. As ever, if you've got any sort of questions and feedback, please do send it to me. I'm building a list of all of the features that people request, and sort of working through them as I go, in sort of terms of priority and sort of the number of requests that I'm getting against those different features. So do get in touch if you have any input, and hope you have a good week's trading ahead.